Welcome to Disclosures with Peter the Insider and Jessica Arael Marrocco. The ACIO has a long history of helping humanity from the deep recesses of time. This is the first time the ACIO has become available to the public, aside from an earlier visitation by their 15th Division, the Wingmakers. Peter the Insider, originally from Slovakia, is the director of their 12th Division, and Jessica Arael Marrocco is in Cicada 3301, their 6th Division. Together, they provide intel, insights on current events, a deeper perspective on aliens and UFOs, super soldier missions with Unit 374 in the Merge, and news relevant for disclosure. Don't forget to subscribe to keep updated with our latest intel and post any questions and comments below.
Hello everyone and welcome to Disclosures, and I'm here again today to talk about some of the upcoming events. Of course, there's a lot of things that are going on around the world, but recently I came back from a bit of travel and I want to talk about that, as well as Peter has an update of what's going on in his mission as well. So without any further delay, we're going to get right into it. Welcome, Peter.
So I want to say hello to you, Jessica, and to all of our regular and maybe not so regular viewers and listeners. And I want to say something what is really, let's say, bad, and it is not okay, because this is not about being unstable in a certain region, but being unstable in the whole world. And I don't know how many of our listeners / viewers are following the world's news, but in this region when I am right now, aka Middle East, we've got this military terminology, weapons are hot, aka all guns blazing. And I'm like, why in the world are you doing this crap again? Nah, this will not end up well, it looks like that.
No, and they're causing a lot of problems, you know, as far as the environment and also loss of innocent life.
Yeah, and that's kind of problem, because they are blaming each other and all kind of that stuff. This is not good.
It's not good at all.
I mean, we know who started, okay? We know who started. Okay, we know who started, but the whole situation, it's like, yikes, because technically it wasn't, let's say, government command. You know what I'm trying to say. It was some sort of semi-terroristic organization, self-made organization. And I'm like, why in the world you just don't wanna give up and try to do something more normal? And just once again, I don't wanna reveal my exact actual location, but the whole region is really messy, and I mean really messy. Yes, it is like in Syria, it is in Lebanon, you know, and the largest problem from my point of view is Iran is involved in the conflict. It is like, yikes, that's not good.
So yeah, this is some of the images that we have. Or they're claiming that they see this. That looks like Project Bluebeam or something, right? It looks like a messianic kind of something there. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, you are right.
Okay.
So what?
Another picture, and let's see what he has to say. I don't know, it doesn't open. I think so the comment is that the U.S. pilot exposed U.S. involvement in an Israel strike against Iran and now deleted tweets. Pentagon has distanced themselves from the tweet saying U.S. F-16s were in the area to protect Israel. So as the United States is in denial that they're assisting?
I don't want to say yes or no. The stuff is, from my point of view, okay? The stuff is, I will be not surprised. Let's say it that way. Let's say it that way. I will be not surprised, and I mean like not surprised at all. Nope.
So, let's see what this is. Oh, this is something else. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to change the subject. I want you to talk about this, and then I have some other topics to come.
Yes, because this is really unstable situation. The whole region. I mean, technically, there is a question, okay? Where and when in the world was this region, quotes in quotes, fine? As I said in one of the previous shows, nope. In Afghanistan, you know, in Pashto language, what is most widespread language in Afghanistan, if you say peace or be quiet or something like that, they don't know what does it mean. And you can speak. It is pretty much like for Inuits, yeah, or you know, Evanks, Inuits in Alaska, or Evanks in Siberia. You say snow, they will look at you. What do you mean? Because they've got like 40, 50 terms for different types of snows, and the same stuff for nomads in Sahara with sand. They don't know what does it mean sand. And exactly the same stuff in Afghanistan or Pakistan. They are always fighting. You know, they are making this huge fire. They are fine. They are celebrating, and then within few seconds, and they are that's crazy mentality. I don't know what is it. I want to ask you, because you are expert in this field. Okay, what does it cost? What caused this? It was some sort of historical, let's say, contexts. I don't know, because
with
Israel, this is actually what I wanna ask for a long time, and I always forgot that. What do you think? What is this quotes in quotes sibling issue, if we want to call it that way? You are better in this field. I am not kind of into relationship. I am not best in the world. I mean, actually, I am worst in the world if we want to talk about it. So just tell us something about it. What's
one of the things that I think there's, I love history. So I do like researching and looking into things. And I have, you know, over the years, I've read the Bible, technically the King James Version Bible, at least 7 times through, 100%.
Hey, give me a second. All? Everything?
Everything. And from the front to the back. Now, there's different variations in interpretation, and there's different ways to look at it. There's also the content has changed. There's books that have been removed. There's all of that that has happened.
Give me a second. Sorry, I know it is very impolite to interrupt you, but this is one thing. What I want to ask you are those apocryphs. Why in the world church they don't want simply they don't want to accept them? Like, nah, they are apocryphs, that we've got only 4. And I was like, why in the world only those 4? You know, like
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You mean the main primary books?
Yes.
Of the accounts of Jesus.
Yeah, and give me a second. They are like those scripts from Qumran and all kind of that stuff. They are like 60. approximately. And why in the world they chose only those four? That's my question.
You know, it depends on who was in charge. So,
Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. It doesn't make any sense.
well,
So
let me
who was in charge? Who was in charge? They literally decided what is true or what is wrong. It doesn't make any sense.
Let me tell you. I'll tell you who it is.
Okay.
The Nicene fathers who came in after the apostles had died or were killed, right? The initial apostles who went from one city to the next, and then they formed a council. The council was a group that decided of these letters. These are letters that were converted into books, right? So of all of these letters, they decided which ones were legitimate. So then you see like the Ephesians and you like a few other like cities, right? That
No, I know that. I know that. That's correct. Yeah.
So from there, then there was another anti-Nicaeans, you know, so there's his, and if you look at the books, Peter, I'm sure you have, but it's a huge collection. It's almost like an encyclopedia.
But give me a second. I understand, but this is the question. So they decided what is true. I don't want to say true, and what is not.
They were the first filtering system. Then, of course, it came. You know, you have Diocletian that came in, Constantine, and then they changed things according to how they, you know, altered things how they liked it. Then King James came in 1611, and then he started to revise the Bible according to how he did. He brought in a bunch of scholars.
But give me a second. But nobody said anything during the process?
And well, the only one that was consistent, now you have the Old Testament. The Old Testament was not altered because the Hebrew scholars were very careful how they preserved everything, and they didn't want anything changed.
But give me a second. I've got friends. They are Hebrews, and their own Talmud, Torah, and everything, Kabbalahs. It wasn't changed for almost 6,000 years, and I think that's an achievement. That's an achievement.
It is because that they knew that. I guess that if you had like one line was incorrect, they would throw out the whole book. You know, they just didn't want any errors whatsoever. So, but others, like the Christians, were not as careful. And Christianity, of course, was used, you know, the Roman Empire converted into the Rome, the church, right? And so, you know, you have these variations, but, you know, they used religion to also control societies and to, you know, create laws. They also used it to also gain money, because like some of the Catholic groups would, you know, say, well, if you don't pay us, you won't go to heaven, you know, that kind of thing. So there was a lot of abuses that were happening. And there were, I mean, I'm not saying it's not happening even in the Hebrew area as well, but I mean, as far as the content and the integrity of the content is consistent in the Old Testament, but not in the New Testament. So that's where they run into problems. But the Old Testament story, getting back to your scenario, is the story of Abraham. Now, Abraham's also recognized by the Muslims as well, right? And even probably some other societies, because
that's correct.
Yeah.
Abraham is recognized by many, and I mean many societies. But Hebrew people, they've got Moses as something like, instead of Jesus, they've got Moses, just by the way.
Correct, yeah, because they don't recognize Jesus. They knew he was Jewish, but they don't recognize him as a Messiah, or at least, you know, majority of them. But anyhow, the story of Abraham. Abraham was a very, very powerful man, kind of like he owned a lot of land. He was very well known in the Middle East at that time. And he had a wife, and his wife was getting very old. She was past childbirth age, and she never gave him a child, and he needed someone to pass on the lineage. So she offered him to be with her handmaid, which is Hagar, and then Hagar had a son called Ishmael, and then someone visited Sarah, supposedly an angel, but I wonder about that, because think about this, what this did was it created the conflict, is then she had her son, Isaac, right? So she had her son Isaac, and then she decided not to share that household with Ishmael and Hagar, his mother, and she kicked them out. She not only kicked them out, but she literally wanted them to kind of go off on and on, and hoping that they would die in the desert. And it was kind of cruel how it all happened, which is why there's this bitterness. Now, I could, I don't know. This is their history. I don't know. I was going to say their story, but it's their history. I don't know if it happened exactly like that, but I will say.
Give me a second. And I don't want to say you believe. So I don't want to say it happened or it doesn't happen like that. But this is what was written. Let's say, okay, yeah. That makes sense. Okay.
And if it's written and they believe that this content is, like you said, 6,000 years old, and they trust it 100%.
Give me a second. Almost. It is like almost 5,800. But let's say 6,000. Yeah.
Because the books were written at different time periods. So
yes, that's correct. That's
point, right? And so and then you go past, and there's a lot of different transitions you go through in the Old Testament, but this one in particular created that bitterness between the siblings. So even though that they have a shared lineage, they're not wanting to share, or they're deciding who should get the land and who shouldn't. But of course, then the United States kind of stepped in, and was it 1950s, 1940s? I don't know the exact date when they gave the land back to Israel, but
19, let's say second half of 1940s. Yep, correct.
Yeah. So that then all of a sudden those that were living there for years suddenly said, hey, wait a minute, you just took our land, right? And that re-established another, the problem again, and which is where we're at right now. But they still were having problems even back, historically. You'll see that there's a lot of problems, and there were a lot of battles that took place, recorded battles in their history in the Old Testament with the other people they call them, that whether it's the Philistines or the Hittites or the Ammonites or one of those other groups, and they got in constant battles with them. So, and they kept on saying, well, God gave us this land, I mean, it's from whatever perspective you're looking at, and personally, I'm not attached to either one. So the thing that I would like to see is that there's no battle there, and that they can find a resolve. There should be a mediator of some sort that can help them sort this out and figure out what's best, instead of
but look, who the heck will get involved once it is almost 6,000 years old battle? Who the heck will?
Maybe you should.
Give me a second. No, I don't want to commit suicide. No.
It would be, it would be, no matter whose side if you try to reason with them, they'll probably both want to kill you.
And this is exactly it, because it's like, oh my God. Yes, this is exactly what you said, this bitterness. Oh my gosh.
I think that in a lot of cases, we're not supposed to have, we're supposed to, want to help out and help to neutralize a location rather than heat it up or have it leaning too far to one side, Yeah,
that's true. That's correct.
Yeah. So I don't, like I said, you'd have to almost go back in time, which is another suggestion I gave you.
Yeah, great, perfect. Thank you. 6,000 years. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah.
And well, still, I don't know what you would do, but whoever they said was this
What do you
angel.
think? Okay, what do you think? For example, if you go with me, because you know far much more than me, okay, I think that it will end up something somehow very similar. I think
You need
during the process.
you need the right person to be in the neutral. You know who could have fixed it? Well, I don't know. Abraham could have fixed it.
Okay, perfect, great. So we will revive him. Okay, perfect, great.
So there were two women, his two women that were, kind of he's been with, that he kind of, created this it's jealousy and competition in the females.
Oh man.
Unfortunately, it's not that simple.
So you are saying women create. Okay, perfect. Cherche la femme. Okay, great.
Yeah.
My wife will love it. Okay, great, perfect. She's from Quebec. Perfect. She's Quebec. She's from Quebec. Yeah, great. And she's Jewish, just by the way, yeah.
And she's Jewish too?
Yeah. I never shared it with public. So, okay, it's out officially.
So then that means you're leaning towards that because, of course, you love your wife.
Yeah, but technically she don't want to have fights and the wars and everything. So she kind doesn't understand what is going on.
There was someone that they said came to Sarah when she was 60 years old and told her she can have a child, and supposedly it was a visitation of an angel. Okay. Now, angels would know that this is going to have become a very, very long battle. Why would an angel do that? So I question whether it was an angel or something else that happened. Maybe someone did interfere and did create something different.
Give me a second. You said, who the heck created duality? Jeez, help me. This
Zoroaster.
Yeah, Zoroaster. Because that was duality as a crazy.
Yeah, he's a problem too. He liked to experiment on our world and humans.
What is the deal? Why he loved to experiment? It doesn't make any sense. Why?
I don't know. I really never could understand what his purpose is, other than he's coming from like an Anunnaki perspective. Zoroaster.
You know what? Give me a second. That speaks for everything. Period. Because this is literally Anunnakis. They're experimentators, literally. And then, hey, give me a second. There was this superior. He was their master. And I mean literally master, something very similar, something, because he wasn't actually an Anunnaki. And he literally divided them to two parts, aka Nephilims, so former Anunnakis but bad ones, and Elohims, aka good ones. And try to guess what happened. Nephilims kind of influenced, and I mean heavily influenced, Nordics, and Nordics phenetized Nazis in this reality. That makes kind of sense.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes kind of big sense.
There was also this another Anunnaki, or one that was connected to Zoroaster, was Ahura Mazda. And no one ever talks about him, but I think he was like a father to Zoroaster.
Oh.
But yeah, you don't really hear a whole lot about what he did, and I think that he was also
And
involved.
just by the way, why the heck we are talking about Zoroaster? Just by the way, so many people are like, what? Well, because Zoroastrianism was the former religion in nowadays Iran, aka former Persian Empire. Just by the way, am I right?
Yeah, and he still, I think he still has a presence.
Hey, give me a second. They are, let's say, devoted to him, to Zoroastrianism, but they are making it, you know, very, very, very like low profile, because officially it is pretty much the government dictated religion. I mean my bad, Islam in Iran. Then that makes kind of sense.
He has something called the eternal fire too.
Who? Give me a second.
A Zoroaster. He has something that like an eternal flame.
Oh, yeah, that's bad.
So yeah, I think
it explains a lot why happened and what happened once I was in Iran. Oh my gosh, because there were crazy, and I'm saying crazy stories because stories can be faked, aka made up, but that kind of experiences was I've got from there. I was like, this is way too crazy even for my taste. Yikes.
Zoroaster, I've had visions of Zoroaster where he had created, I think there's a pocket realities or something, or babushka or something there in that area that he created, and I'll tell you why. I had visions, and I talked about this for years.
That's actually a very interesting topic. Go ahead.
I kept on seeing this building. It was a white building. It almost looks like it was made out of Adobe, you know, like this open windows, or maybe they weren't open, but there were large window in the front.
Okay.
And there might have been like a door entrance and then some windows on the side. It was just like a rectangular shape and very simple, like Adobe size. I saw people sitting inside, and there were platonic solids, like a cone shape.
Okay.
Square, a sphere, you know, a pyramid, and he was having people do something like there was a control room there. It was a simple white table, but I felt like there was more of a control room. And then I saw people doing things on the inside of that room, and then it looked like nuclear explosions or something going on outside, like they were doing it from within the space.
And that's my question. Why in the world? I am absolutely not surprised. Once in epics, Mahabharata and Ramayana, they are definitely describing nuclear explosions.
Right. But that's the deserts, right? I mean.
Yes, but give me a second, not deserts. I'm talking about India parts, and they don't have deserts. But this region, what you are describing, it's in the desert.
That's extreme heat, what it does to the ground, it changes.
Yes, and the question is, were they able to create such a technology, or they simply get mirror image from pocket realities? Because in ACIO records, it is kind of unclear which kind of case is this. What do you think? What do you think?
I think that he created realities within realities so that too would lock in his laws and rules. In another place that I found him was in Joshua Tree in California.
Oh,
it's the same thing, because I went to Joshua Tree, and I remember this was a couple years ago maybe about 3-4 years ago. I remember standing there and saying there's something like the atmosphere was damaged. Like they did something to the atmosphere. It almost like it didn't feel right. It felt very strange. And I saw that Zoroaster.
What do you mean by strange? Because strange can be strange can be different, you know.
I felt more close to the Matrix Foundation, like there was less of a veil.
No, it's I don't know, it's so weird.
Do you know what I'm talking about? The atmosphere. Something was very, very odd about it. But I know that he was there.
This is crazy.
And I think he's been
crazy. It is pretty much like atmosphere sucked out by nuke explosion or something like that, you mean?
Yep.
Oh my God.
That's what it felt like. And then of course you see all the stuff that they actually redid that again in Nevada, right? So I'm sure that there's
you know, like what is it? Sanation of the whole bad side effects. I know what you are trying to say.
Yeah, the Manhattan Project and everything else that they
and Project X, Project Epsilon. Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all those different things. But I also felt, and I don't know, you might disagree with me, but I also felt that Zoroaster, with one of his experiments, had something to do with the Grand Canyon.
Do you know what? If we are talking about this pretty much the largest volcano in the world, or aka super/hyper volcano, I will tell you something. I am not disagreeing with you. I agree with you 100%, definitely. Because look, scale-wise, it will be crazy. Like all of our nuke stuff, all hydrogen stuff, forget about it. It will pretty much create nuclear winter, if we want to call it that way. Do you know what I mean? Nuclear winter without nuclear explosion. It's crazy. Oh my God.
People get on Shiva, bringing in the nukes, but I think that it was going on earlier.
People are blaming Shiva. I wanna know this because this is chronicle. Shiva is destroyer. Shiva is bad guy, and all kind of.
Yeah.
And you are saying that it is not just kind of that easy with Shiva. Just tell me.
And Oppenheimer also, mentions Shiva, the destroyer of the worlds, or but nobody looks at Zoroaster, and I think it's kind of weird because it's a great cover up, but it's so old that no one really recognizes what was going on.
My question is, I know it is impolite that I'm always interrupting you, but how old, time-wise, is approximately Zoroaster? I don't want to say when he started to exist, but when he first appeared on Earth, approximately.
I don't know. I don't have the access to those records, but I will say that
what we got is, and this is absolutely crazy, that he's the oldest god in the, I don't want to say in the world, but what we got. And believe me, it is 250. No, not thousands, millions years.
Yeah, like when the Earth was sort of in its formative.
Yeah, and I was like, hey, stop, guys. There are too many zeros, like number, and I was like, no, there are too many zeros there. And they said, no, you can get it right. And I was like, what? And this is exactly what you said, like Earth was only forming. And this is it. What do you think? When Gaia as a goddess, let's say, incarnated to Earth as a planet, because this is important factor too, just by the way.
I think these are because they have Zoroaster, like Midas, some of these different beings that were here, I think that they came from another civilization and they decided to come and do certain things here. I believe Gaia came from, some people are going to get upset, but I think the one that people acknowledge the most is she was from the Anunnaki, or from that group. I think they came as a group, and they came to settle here, but Shiva was already existing, but he didn't come in until after, and well, not that much after, to probably create a balance of what Zoroaster was doing. I think Zoroaster is trying, just like any god shows up and they try to, insert their idea of what things should be like and experiment. And I saw Zoroaster creating a civilization and then letting it end.
Very powerful civilization, just by the way.
But he would create civilizations that didn't exist, like really powerful ones, but then they would end. They would just disappear. And I saw him do that a bunch of times too, but here again, that's the experiments. Whereas I don't see Shiva was trying to create civilizations that would last. I think that he was trying to create, and this is my opinion, but from my understanding of what I communicating and seeing, that's what I came to a conclusion about. I feel that Zoroaster was had a more distant feeling, or not a real caring feeling towards humanity. It was more of a curiosity, maybe. And with Shiva, I felt like it was more loving, more concerned or nurturing.
Let's say, I don't want to say like that, but let's say, what is the Shiva deal? Eras. Like, do you know what I mean? Cycles. Like something was destroyed, aka disappeared, something another was created, and all kind of that stuff. It's normal. It's like you was born, for example, okay? You are way too small to do anything. You start to go to kindergarten, to elementary school, to high school, and blah blah blah. Some people to university or college, who the heck knows. You start to work.
And then you get older and you go back to needing help again, right? So you go.
Yeah. Or for example, in some cases.
Yeah.
You get into a relationship, you get engaged, you got, you know what I mean? You got married, you got children, or sometimes in certain cases, you got divorced, or you become widow or widower, it doesn't matter. And this is it. Like certain eras, like in you know what I mean, in your life. And this is it. Your life started, your life ends, and different than other lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, because
it's life and death, they say, it's all part of the same. It's the whole process.
But you know that technically we, how can I say it? Death doesn't exist. This is exactly what small grade said. It is your construct. I mean, our construct, not mine and yours, but I mean us as humans.
Yeah.
We are living in, let's call them cycles. And just because
yugas, I think
yugas, that's, yes, Kali Yuga, Muli Yuga, Vili Yuga, exactly, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it is like, what? How in the world, like, death doesn't exist? Because it doesn't exist. It is the same stuff as, for example, I know it is crazy, but just parallel. How time is flowing. It's extremely complicated. And for us, because we simply cannot understand it, we just make one line. Boom, we've got small dot, small bullet. It is right here, right there. You quotes in quotes, will get to the left, it is, or my bad, it was in the past. To the right, it is future. No, forget that. It is extremely complicated. But we, let's say, simplified it like that for our understanding. Yeah, you are right. You are right.
Yeah. Well, you know, they say that the body might die, but the soul doesn't. So
No,
that's
no.
it's the continuation of the existence of the soul.
Look, because there is energy, and you cannot simply, how can I say it, delete, if we want to call it that way, delete energy. You cannot.
No.
No? And even it is even in the physics. So even the science is saying that.
Right.
You cannot, how can I say, delete energy. No, you cannot.
So Peter, it would almost be like if in the Middle East you'd have to go through and maybe find those pocket realities. That maybe that's another solution. I can hear people probably screaming, "Don't touch anything and make it worse."
Give me a second, but this is the problem. This is the problem. We were there in certain realities, and I was like, for real? It was so weird. Everything was so weird.
Dark Pictures is like another one of those realities, right? The ancient Sumerian city underneath.
Give me a second. Dark Pictures and Anthology. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's another way to look at it. And I'm gonna go into, can I tell what happened to me? Because we
give me a second. It's not can I? You need. This is important.
Well, I didn't want to break up the flow of our conversation.
Hey, give me a second. Because of who and what happened, this is extremely important. So go ahead.
Well, I felt like I had to go somewhere. I felt drawn to go to Denmark, and we went there. Traveling through, we went on one side of it, and then we drove over into Copenhagen. It felt a little weird. I knew there's some things going on, and I'll also, share something else too regarding it. But when we got to Copenhagen, we were there the next morning. We went to have breakfast, and there was, as we were having our breakfast, we kept on hearing someone clearing their throat. And it went on and on and on. I want to say almost 15 minutes. It kept like that. Like I was like, oh, someone must be really unhealthy or they have problems. And so I look around the corner to see who it is. I'm expecting someone in a wheelchair or someone, having respiratory issues or some
old, really old or something like that.
Old person or someone that looks really unhealthy. And I see this guy that looks around 30 years old. And I'm looking at him saying, he looks kind of familiar, but I don't know from where. My mind just didn't register who he was. And I'm like, and I kept on looking. I was like, is there someone else there? And then I realized it was him. He looked perfectly healthy. Not only did he look healthy, but he looked fit. And he was dressed like really nice clothing. You know what I mean? Like dress clothing, like a businessman of some sort. You know what I mean? And I was like, that is really weird. So he kept on doing that, and there was hardly anyone in the room, the area where we were having the dining room. Suddenly, a couple people come in, and then it's quiet. He stops. When the other people came in, he stopped. So I said, this is weird, So we left. We went and got our bags and started to go to to get our car, right? As we're walking, he comes walking past us again. He looks at us. I turned around and looked at him. I said, wait a minute, what's that guy doing there again? So it didn't click with me. And then finally, I realized as we were driving to our next destination, we went to Hamburg. We ended up in Germany. And then we were in a hotel across from the train station in Hamburg. And I realized that it was Alan Ben-Secka again, right? I don't know why. I just didn't put two and two together, because I saw him on the airplane, but I was seeing him from like a profile. but then, you know, it clicked with me that who he was. So we start walking around. They have like all these little shops and places to eat and everything in this train station. It's really big. I mean, it's kind of impressive. You know, you go in there and it's very open, and the architecture is very interesting. So, and you see people just coming in and out of there. And so we decided to go get some this place to eat again. As people think probably you go out to eat all the time. Not really. I mean, just that, like, these things are happening during that time. And so we walk up to this one vendor, and it had like a little store area. And there's this guy leaning up against the table. He looked like a security guy. And it's him again. And I'm like, wait a minute. We just saw him up in Denmark, and now he's here, right? And he's looking at us. We order our food. I go to sit down, and then he's pacing. He's going back and forth. And then he's looking at me as he's going back, you know, back and forth. And then we stop seeing him. We get up, we walk around. I went into a store. And then he comes into the store, literally right next to me, and then opens, like the door had to be opened up, I guess. But, you know, what the store owner didn't do it, he had to do it. And he looked right at me, and I was like, all right, I don't even know what's going to happen here. And I just got out of his way because, I mean, he's a sniper. So, like...
And a hella good sniper, believe me.
So, I'm okay. No problems, but clearly he followed us, or there's portals or something going on in that train station.
Give me a second. Why in the world you was in the train station in Hamburg? You are making worse decisions in the world.
Oh,
No, and hey, listeners, and Jessica is laughing at. Oh my God.
Peter, you know.
First, she is trying her luck in Montauk, now in Hamburg. Oh, great, perfect. Oh my God.
I mean, you know, I think there's a lot of people that were in there, and it was.
But not with your abilities. Oh my God.
What's going on in there? Because there's portals in there.
Yeah. But those people are not affected because they don't have such abilities as you have. Oh my.
I felt like I was walking around with a sign around me. That's how he was showing up around us a lot.
And just by the way, why do you think I am so upset about train station? And be honest with me. Because it was in the Matrix. Train station, you can get stuck in realities. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Okay, people. Jessica is curious. Jessica is asking for a trouble. Perfect.
You know, you don't think of a train. It's just a train station. You don't think anything of it.
It's the train station. It is everything, but not just a train station. Oh my God, great, perfect.
Yeah, the Matrix does that. I think there was another show I was looking at. They did something with the train station as well. It is, I guess it's weird.
It is not weird because people are meeting each other there. Oh, it's a hub for a people.
A hub for people that are, you know, well, it's a shadow group then. You're saying the shadow group was...
No, for a people, like for many people, like getting in and out and changing destinations, my bad. And shadow group is misusing it. And I mean, like, heavily misusing it.
But he was trying to probably get me to leave.
Not to leave. Get to stuck you.
I see.
Okay, it is official. Jessica is asking for trouble. Perfect. It is official. Our listeners. Okay.
But I didn't go into a train station in Copenhagen. that's where he found us. But I will tell you something. We didn't know where we were going in Copenhagen, and we booked a hotel in Copenhagen, and it turned out to be the red light district. Like, we didn't know.
Give me a second, are you?
There were strip clubs everywhere.
No, give me a second. You didn't know that?
No, we didn't know anything about Copenhagen. We were like, what?
Yeah, you just drove there, and I was like, this is kind of odd.
But there was another train station there too, but we didn't go in it.
And I will tell you something. If you will end up in train station in Copenhagen, you will it will spit you out in Hamburg, and you will end up in the loop.
That's what I think he did, because he
And
followed us.
just by the way, you know what means red hot club, and you will be kind of surprised why in the world how in the world you will end up in London, because they've got show house, such a huge red hot club, gentleman's club. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and this probably goes into cyberpunk then too, right?
Yeah, and I mean, gentlemen's intimate services. Jesus Christ. Why in the world you are doing such a crap? It was a warning. No, red light district. It was a warning in Copenhagen.
But I don't know what the rest of Copenhagen looks like. I mean, it's a big city.
No, I understand, but I am saying, okay? I am saying it was a warning.
Yeah, and we knew it was a dangerous area as soon as we got there, but it was too late, because we had a tight schedule. We didn't stay there very long. We stayed there for
I understand, but I'm just saying, because in cooperation with Mobius, as an order from show house, okay, shadow group want both of you and your husband, just locked up in literally like show house, their original house.
Why did they want us particularly?
All of us, because we locked their.
We took their founders.
Yeah, some of them at least.
There's something else too we found, a Super Sleuth sent it to me. I'll share with you regarding Denmark, and I didn't realize this either. But like I said, I mean, I felt like I needed to go there. All right, so this is what I want to share with you. Denmark's first AI supercomputer is now operational. So I wasn't aware that this was going on, but I got this from Andronetalks news. Super Sleuth sent this to me. This showing that all of this was going on while I was there. So this is it looks like there is quite a bit of AI going on. And probably.
Hey, Jessica, AI is everywhere, just by the way.
Right, but this is very quantum, right? What they were doing there in Denmark. So, yeah, that was the other thing that I wanted to bring up.
Oh my, this is crazy. And I mean, very crazy, okay?
But, you and I are we able to talk about that disease that came in through NASA?
Yeah, pretty much. This is another topic, I mean, important topic we want to talk about, because this small ball, spherical ball, what developed once you sent this sample to a friend of mine in Slovakia.
Yep.
And many people died. Thousands of people died, just by the way.
When they opened it.
Nobody's talking about it. I don't know why. And it caused what people in the world knows, that it caused floods, heavy floods in Slovak, Czech Republic, Poland, and of course Austria. And this is extremely highly contagious extraterrestrial diseases. Okay. And doctors don't know how to cure it. That's the problem.
Came for that. All right. So the sample. So
sample was heavily contaminated.
Navy John brought it. It was completely sealed. It was just an air sample. It had to have been enhanced because I was sealed when I had it. So when I handed it off to your friend, and then he went to open it, that's when it happened, right? Because he opened it right away.
Oh, he doesn't. Friend of him, she worked in this scientific center.
Yeah, but he contacted me within a day or so and said that they were already looking at it, and then and he also did some other things too, like very quickly.
Give me a second. He well, I was talking with him, and it's like, hey Matt, what is going on? And he said, nah, I didn't dare to open it, but he sent it to his friend. She's excellent scientist, and she told him like, what the heck is that? And they start coughing and everything, and their tissues literally turned to gel.
Okay, Peter, remember I said early on when I first encountered Ellen Benseca during our trip in Denmark, he kept coughing.
Okay.
Was he involved with this opening it up, and was he exposed to it?
I will be not surprised. Nope.
Because he was like I said, looked really healthy, but sounded like an old man with his cough.
Give me a second. I am not surprised. Nope. Or let's say I will be not surprised if this will be the case. Nope.
Navy John and I have a hard time because we feel like we fulfilled our mission. We did what we were supposed to do, and then there was an intervention of something very negative that occurred.
What do you mean negative that
caused this to harm people and alter?
You mean this, because I was like in both of your personal lives. I was like, you know,
our personal lives were attacked. I mean, I had serious health issues. I ended up in the hospital. I had a lot of problems because of well, we could say they didn't want you to see what they were doing, and what they wanted to do was a mass depopulation of some sort.
No. That, give me a second. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Believe me. Yeah. That makes.
So it wasn't just a sample. It was stuff that they did over and above that, I think, that caused the problems, because as soon as we dropped it off, they left us alone. We never had any problems like that afterwards.
What?
Yeah. I mean, I feel better. I have less personal issues happening. So how does this happen then, that NASA, so it's saying a crew that came back on Earth 2 months ago, but their homecoming was stalled by problems with the Starliner astronaut capsule, which returned empty in September because of safety concerns. An astronaut was taken to the hospital shortly after returning to the Earth from an extended mission on the International Space Station. NASA did not name for privacy reasons and is suffering from an undisclosed medical issue. NASA said the entire.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. Oh my.
And that's
goodness.
Florida, right? Pensacola.
Yeah.
Sacred Heart Pensacola Hospital out of precaution. Well, I mean, they're based in Florida. Other 3 members have left the hospital and returned to Houston. One astronaut who remains at Ascension is in stable condition under observation as a precautionary measure. How is it that, oh, wait a minute, astronauts Matthew Dominic, Michael Barrett, Jeanette Epps, and Russian cosmonaut Alexander Grebenkin splashed down in SpaceX Dragon spacecraft at 3:29 a.m. local time on Friday, off of Florida's Gulf Coast. So they're tight-lipped about the medical issues. But, you know, currently at this time, your friend is in very, very bad health, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, but, all right, so how is it that they
But
got...
I will tell you something. It is very bad because government in Slovakia is making unlogical decisions, and they want to, I mean, yes, in US or Western Europe, it is like, nah, it is normal. But in Slovakia, it is not normal because most big, and I mean huge hospitals are government owned, or let's say government donated. And now they want to create, or let's say not create, transform them to LTDs, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is, it is not like in US or I don't know, in Canada, in UK, in West Germany or France or who the heck knows, that they've got money for, let's say, healthcare system. There is no money for healthcare system in Slovakia pretty much, and without donation from government, those hospitals are down. And it looks like they changed their minds. Do you know what I'm trying to say? If you know, you mean?
Yeah. So, and then, like you said, there was, because of the weather, there was a lot of casualties.
Many casualties, yeah.
How did it happen that the sample that came from South Korea ended up being connected?
No, give me a second. Not casualties because of weather. Weather only, quotes in quotes, only caused floods.
Floods, yes.
But casualties, we are talking about approximately between 120 to 150,000 people died in Western Slovakia, Western half of Slovakia, pretty much, in Czech Republic, in Austria, you know.
Yeah,
and nobody is talking about it. Nobody is talking about it in the first place. And in the second place, nobody is even talking about one thing. What in the world is doing American FEMA in the region? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, why is FEMA there? So it created like an anomaly of some
I don't want to say anomaly, infection. So pretty much the whole V4 region, aka Czech, Slovak Republic, Poland, Hungary, plus Austria, was infected, heavily infected. And how in the world American FEMA ended up there?
Well, is it because of the astronauts then? Because how in the world did the astronauts connect to the sample that was, like, I didn't interact with the astronauts.
No, I understand what you are trying to say. And it was in South Korea. It's like, what the heck? Yeah, no, I understand what you are trying to say. I understand what do you want to say. Yep.
So how did it happen? How did this virus come down and then suddenly it ended up in South Korea?
Because Arcturians want to help us. Give me a second. Not they were like, nah, we want to cause them harm and we will say them that we want to help. No, they really want to help us, okay? Arcturians, they are Arcturians, benevolent ET race. And there are seeds of many of their plants, you know. Let's say it didn't end up well. I mean, this sample, bringing this sample here, it didn't end up well because it is like, what the heck? What the heck is happening? It was, how can I say it? So rapid. It is like if you have moderate, let's say, radioactive reaction. What do you have inside reactor, or let's say in core of reactor of nuclear power plant? And once it will turn up and you lost control, bam, and you get nuke bomb. You know what I'm trying to say. It is pretty much like in Chernobyl, you know. They made few mistakes, and within, I don't know, it was like 3-4 seconds, and it blew up because it got up to 1,000 times, or let's say more times, of projected capacity. And this is something like that. Well, Arcturians absolutely don't know. Because they colonized many planets, not few planets, many planets. They adopted their own fauna and flora and everything went well, but they didn't make this kind of stuff here on Earth with their plants, their animals, and they want to help us. And I was like, hey guys, do you really believe that this is a good idea? And once I said that, well, it ended up really bad. And I mean really bad. You know what I'm trying to say. Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm still trying to understand the thought here of what happened. So we literally had an air particle. I mean, it's just air.
Air pollution. That kind of, let's say, small, not as a flower, but as an anthrax. You cannot see it.
This is as a result from, what we've talked to Michael, who's on Unit 374 as well. He's originally, his family's from Korea, or he's Korean descent, and he said that because of a lot of the factories in China, a lot of those particulates end up flowing over through the air, end up going into Korea.
But give me a second, they are saying it. Factories from China. It's not true. Nope.
Well, that's what he was told, that the factories.
Yeah, but give me a second. This is it. But they need to say something, okay? They need to say something to the public.
But there's also a Monarch facility right there. You said right in Seoul.
What I'm talking about. Because they, I mean, it was stupidest move in the world that Arcturians built their own facility next to the Monarch facility. Oh my God.
That has to be on purpose. They probably did it on purpose.
No, because they believe that they need, I will tell you, okay? They need tremendous amount of, I'm calling it juice, aka energy, okay? Electricity, call it as you like. And it will be ineffective for them to create it somewhere in the middle of nowhere, okay? And this kind of, let's say, dump, like deep underground military base for Monarch, it consumes a lot of juice too. And they were like, okay, they've got electricity, they've got infrastructure, let's do it, let's use it, okay. I was like, how in the world, why you didn't ask us? And they were like, are they bad? And I was like, guys, they are very bad. Oh my goodness. Because they wanted to help. Arcturians wanted to help, but they don't know our internal, do you know what I mean? Like, let's say internal, I mean our as humans, like we've got certain beefs and everything, do you know what I mean? Certain groups, they want to be in control all over the humanity and all kind of that stuff. And it's like, why in the world, guys, you didn't ask us? And they were like, we screwed it.
So, or it's still, you're not quite explaining to me. So you have the sample that Navy John got, then he sent it to me, then I brought it over to your friend in Slovakia.
That's correct.
How did the NASA astronaut affect that? How did the Arcturians affect that? Or
because Arcturians made those experiments in the very early stages.
Okay.
Not, give me a second, not on Earth. I mean, on surface / in the atmosphere, but on the orbit. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Nah, this is it. This is it. This is important.
So that affected the astronauts and
yeah, correct.
The sample that
because technically, on orbit and on the dark side on the moon.
So you had asked us to do this. Well, you had asked Navy John because he was he traveled there.
That's my second Jesus. I never believed that something like that will happen.
But you were concerned that they were going to use that sample to actually destroy a lot of people, which sort of happened anyhow. But what could have happened? Is it worse or the same or less?
I will tell you something. 1%. Not 1%. 1/10%. It can be not 1,000. Hundreds of thousands of I don't know, times worse. Millions, dozens of millions, hundreds of millions people can die.
Had we not done this? Had we not?
Definitely. Yeah. You know, it is pretty much, I will tell you something. It is pretty much, I will give you a parallel, okay? I know people in Japan will hate me, but we know what happened in 1945 in August in Japan, okay? August 6th and 9th. But because actually, even US, United States, they really don't know how powerful weapon they developed, okay? And they were in shock, to be honest. They were in shock. Which kind of, distraction, which kind of distraction it made. Then it started MAD. MAD, not as a word, but as an acronym. And I will tell you what this acronym stands for. Mutual Assurance of Destruction. So this is the stuff, let's say, like, okay, we saw in Japan in 1945 what atomic / H bombs can do. So nobody will use them again. And I mean nobody. You know what I mean. And this is sorry, go ahead.
I was looking for this article. It's interesting you brought it up, Peter. You must have read my mind here that I had this article. Studies from Hiroshima and Nagasaki do not show evidence of radioactive fallout in keeping with nuclear detonations. The plutonium and cesium could not be shown to coincide with the time of the bombing. Instead, they were likely deposited approximately 2 years afterwards. So someone did a study, a research.
Yeah, I will tell you why this happened. Because there was a typhoon and it pretty much wiped out like 70-80% of radioactive particles, and then next, I don't know, in next few years, next typhoon or something like that happened, or they've got tsunami or something like it, and that was it. But
brought it back. It brought some of that back, right?
No, not back. It wiped almost. Yes, levels of radiation are higher, but why in the world people are living in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but they are not living in Fukushima? It's easy, because it wiped out most radioactive particles. Typhoon. It was like, I don't know, few months or maybe 1 year after that, after bombing. But no, I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you.
Did the ACIO help with that, or because I know?
Yeah, we affected the weather, just by the way, just a little bit. But for example, why so many people like, nah, what's wrong with Chernobyl? Nah, it's kind of different story, because no typhoons in the first place, no sea, no ocean in the second place, just land.
But like you see animals surviving there. There's people that have moved back there. They're still able to, seem to exist.
I'll tell you something. Give me a second. Those people adapted to the radiation. This is absolutely the same as I mentioned. I don't know if I mentioned it in the show, but we've got some sort of Skype group chat. We are talking about interesting stuff. There is small village in country where I was born, in Slovakia, and they've got arsenium, extremely crazy high level of arsenium. Newcomers, new settlers, small village, like 1400s of people living there. Newcomers, always sick, new settlers. Let's say children, defective children. They don't know what the heck is going on. People, they were living there for generation, like the decades. No problem, because they used to it. Their genetics adopted to it. I'm just saying.
Yep. No, I understand. So, I mean, that's kind of some of the things that have happened. And there's some alien stuff I wanted to run by you, Peter.
Okay. But give me a second. Arcturians are heavily active on dark side on the moon. So if you want to share this, I know those are Arcturians. I know that.
So right here, he said that it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. An alien signal from Alpha Centauri B, BLC-1. I'm going to play it.
No, I don't know if it is good.
Social media channel is a signal from BLC-1. So that's as far as the organization Astron here in Europe are prepared to go today publicly. They're the ones who've done the work. They're the ones who built the radio telescope multiplexing.
So I don't want to play too much of his stuff, but it's the same thing. This gentleman talks about it as well.
to the conclusion of the IAC convention, but I'll be grabbing a train back to Britain tomorrow. But in the meantime, I have something for you to listen to. According to some very reliable sources, including some researchers with access to some extremely advanced equipment, and also a NASA documentarian, this is the first signal that we have received from an alien civilization, the first signal that we can after the conclusion of.
So he's saying it's, I mean, he wouldn't know, he's not necessarily working for an organization, but he's, I don't believe he is, but anyhow, what is this this tone that they sent from Alpha?
They just want to communicate with us.
They already are connected to us, for sure. There are,
let's say some sort of alerts that in another parts of the universe there is war ongoing. Just by the way.
that's in B, right? So
yeah, correct. No, oh, give me a second. No. They know. Give me a second, please. They know that in far away parts of the universe, big wars are ongoing. But those guys, Centurions, not Arcturians, Centurions, they are settled in BLC, okay? This is important.
right. But the Centurions are here too.
That's correct.
And that was one of the places that I existed at some point.
I know.
Right.
I know.
But that, yeah, the frequency definitely seems like maybe they're warning us that that's headed our way or of some sort.
No. They just want to let you know that something is not right in certain parts of the universe.
Right. And so if, like I said, if things don't go well, if they don't stop it, then it becomes our problem. Because they're warriors. They're the Alpha Centauria are like protectors, warriors, right? And
but I will tell you something. They will not put us in the war, because once they are here, they will protect the territory. Because they are here.
Yeah.
They are here actually for what I know. At least 16,000 years.
Yeah. They don't really show themselves.
Hey, give me a second. It doesn't matter.
A lot of people wouldn't know, but I've seen them. The ones that I've seen are like soldiers. They look like soldiers.
Correct.
Their type of soldiers, not ours.
Oh, yeah, you are right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Let's see what else. There is something that that people are asking if this is space junk, that they're seeing some kind of activity. See this right here. It looks like it's ships, the way it's moving, but.
Yeah, they are from the very far distance, but that's true. Yeah, correct.
Do you know who they are?
Not in our database, just by the way.
Is that the moon that we're looking at?
Yeah, but they are not in our database. I mean,
who those two ships were?
This is it. What I'm trying to say. They are not in our database.
So are they new?
Yeah, correct.
Are they just observing us?
Yeah, observing. That's what they like. What they liked, or what you like. You know, it's like.
There's a passenger said that there was pyramids under the water over the Gulf of Mexico. See them?
Yeah, I know.
So that's just another. Oh, here's something interesting, Peter. Kuwait bans a new Call of Duty game featuring Saddam Hussein.
I am not surprised.
That would be Black Ops 6, which you're involved as Ghost.
Yeah, why in the world I am not surprised?
And I'm also involved, right, as Jason. What's his name?
Jameson Hudson, I know.
Jason Hudson, yep. So, and there's a bunch of others that are part of our team were involved in that, right? That's the Black Ops 6. It's
Yeah.
almost, it looks like SEAL teams. Is it connected to the SEAL Team 6
Yeah,
scenario? The reason for the ban, while no official reason was given by Kuwaiti authorities, social media users speculated that the backdrop of war, which began with Iraq's invasion of Kuwait in 1990, was the reason behind the ban. The Middle East Eye contacted Kuwaiti officials for comment, but did not receive a response by the time of the publication. Interesting to see how political sensitivities influence entertainment, one user posted on the decision. I could see them going for a monster of their own doing, essentially framing Saddam Hussein as a byproduct of unchecked U.S. support towards Western-friendly dictatorships and U.S. willingness to sell the chemical precursor to Iraq's chemical weapons program during the Iran-Iraq War. One Redditor said or shared, as gamers tried to guess what would have led the launch delay. So what are they going to have to do? Edit and remove Saddam?
Don't know, to be honest. Don't know.
But you're connected to this Call of Duty.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not, let's say, responsible for what they are creating. You know.
Yeah, look at this. Well, because they're bringing in some things that actually happened. That's what the problem is, right?
Oh, that's true. That's correct. Yeah, that's correct.
All right, here, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. The second included a mission targeting an Iranian military leader named Gorbrani, one very similar to the real-life assassination of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani.
Yeah, that happened. That really happened. That really happened. That's correct.
And in 2021, Activision came under fire for the scene of Call of Duty Vanguard Zombies, in which pages from the Quran, the Islamic holy book, were scattered on the floor. At the time, many social media users called for boycott of the game, which they called Islamophobic, and the US-based studio issued an apology and removed the content. So, I mean, people have been, oh, you guys are not real. You just talk about video games. Yeah, these.
But give me a second. That's the stuff that those things really happen. Just by the way.
That's what we've been trying to say for years, and now suddenly some people are starting to accept it and understand it. But it was really hard in the beginning. I remember talking about these specific type of subjects and even these games, and imagine that the children are actually playing this out, these young kids, and exposing themselves to these wars and different things that took place in the political agendas. So
wars. I'm saying war, but wars are always about politics.
Right, and it's not very common, when you have games like this that they have these recalls. I know that Cyberpunk had some problems too. They had some technical problems, but you do wonder, if there wasn't some other pieces that had to be removed that people were objecting to.
Yeah, but you
Too
need
real.
to get that Cyberpunk was huge game at that time, and so many people, they are, let's say, hardcore gamers, and they hated Cyberpunk when it was released because it was laggy, buggy, and everything, and you can have, like, I don't know how crazy good game, but once it is laggy and buggy, so many people hate it. Just by the way, I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
Yeah, and then like, some of these other games too, that people had problems with or they didn't take very serious.
Yeah, I know that.
Well, look at the whole thing with the Umbrella Corporation, the Umbrella.
Oh my god! No, I don't want to even talk about Umbrella.
What is that game that they created? And then it actually, all the kids were like, "Hey, wait a minute, this is in the news. We played this in the game."
Yes. I mean, it was a series of video games and and movies. Resident Evil.
Right. And then
Yeah.
they talked about Raccoon City and
Give me a
Wuhan
second.
and
It
everything
really
else.
happened. Give me a second.
Yeah.
It really happened.
I know.
I'm just saying.
So yeah, and well, also the agenda too. So the perpetuation of the Cold War, which who would think, from the 1960s that we're in this loop of the 1960s, and then
60s,
also
70s, something like that. Yeah.
and the tensions that we're getting even still from what's happening in Cuba.
Ah.
So
So
Cuba.
fascinating.
So Cuba went into a huge power grid collapse. And so, they're trying to, like, how is that related to this Cold War agenda, what they're doing?
Yeah, because they want to create a time loop again. Give me a second. American special units, because they want not okay, Castro people let win, aka Pix Bay. They don't want a Pix Bay happen.
Is it them, or is the shadow group also involved in this?
Second, them, because they somehow in the world end up in 2021, right, or 2020, something like that, from 1959, and it happened. It is absolutely crazy. I'm just saying,
That this whole thing with the Bay of Pigs, that it had played out, it happened, and they're trying to undo it.
Yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about, because they are using time traveling system.
But is the shadow group involved, because they were very, very much involved with Florence?
Shadow group is involved in everywhere.
Yeah, but we had those Hurricane Milton and what happened. I mean, that also was related probably to this time anomalies.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
Yep. I'm just showing some pictures because we didn't talk about it the last time. And you can see that it has to be a nightmare. I heard that people are having trouble getting water, food. I mean, it just is a complete nightmare. So, and these people are already, struggling financially as it is. And here again, governments make decisions and the people suffer, which
yeah, I know that.
because they don't make that decision.
I know.
Look at this. I mean, leave the poor people alone. Let them have their life, And
I know.
They have an interesting culture. A lot of people, Americans, like to go visit there. But
so this is it. In Pigs Bay, it was this invasion in 19 let's say, in between 1959 and 1961, it happened that everything was completely bad. And this is it, that somehow in the world, they you know, yikes.
Yeah, here's the
They,
whole,
they ended up in 2019 back, and they started to do crazy stuff. Jesus, so bad. Don't know why.
yeah. Well, there were others involved there too. I mean, there were other nations that are, I don't know. It's very convoluted, Peter, you know, to know who's supporting them and funding them and what they're doing. You got Che Guevara, you know, who's, I mean, people see him as a hero. You know, as Raul Castro. They're, you know, that family.
Come on a second. I am just saying that it happened again.
Yep. So, all right. And
I'm just
I saw this article too that Vanilla Ice, who was like a rapper from the 90s, talked about how he knew Pablo Escobar, and he, you know, they used to come over his house. You know, I mean,
and why in the world I am not surprised.
who is Vanilla Ice?
You mean one of very good elite contact of Pablo Escobar in Europe, at least what I know.
Because he's originally he's American.
But give me a second. I know, but he got friends in Europe, just by the way.
Okay. So is he like an agent of some sort, or?
You are saying that, and yes, you are right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was a little surprised to see that part. So let's see.
So I think we are good to go for today. What do you think, huh? You got 2 hours.
They said an asteroid hit Earth near California.
Yeah, that's true.
And what was that from? Does that have anything to do with Alpha Centauri, or what they were doing, or?
Yeah, it was just a cover small fighter plane, you know.
Okay, so they came in, it looked like an asteroid, but it wasn't. It was,
yep, correct.
Cloaked. Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
I'm just checking to see if there's anything else that we, yeah, there was another alien. There's one other alien thing that I wanted to bring up to you. Where is it? Slimy orange alien egg pods discovering in a river, and they're spreading rapidly.
I am not surprised. I knew that they will come here sooner or later. I know that. I know it.
Okay, so they said that I think it's in the Netherlands that they went to.
Yeah.
That they found it in a river in the Netherlands.
I know.
I think Utrecht.
Maybe Roll will help us because I don't know how to pronounce.
Yeah, Utrecht, Holland. It says that it's a colony of bryozoans.
Yeah, colonials. Oh my God, I never.
Hermaphrodites.
Bryonisms, yes.
Clustered together to create a dinosaur egg-like pod. And they're puzzled as to why the creepy crew was literally hanging out in a canal. So why are they, who sent them? What are they?
From the far, past. Look, dinosaurs. And I am not kidding you, okay? Once they will be born, it will be pain in the ass. Just by the way.
Jeez.
Give me a second. I'm not kidding you, dinosaurs, okay? Dinosaurs.
So,
Literally.
who brought them here? Did they do a Jurassic Park experiment?
Yeah.
Can I ask?
They opened the time portal.
Who did this?
Not who. What? This huge asteroid. Approximately 65 million years ago.
Right, but who brought them into our current time? One of the corporations?
No, give me a second. It randomly happened. It can happen at every single time, or let's say any single time.
So nobody did it in particular?
No, let's say not intentionally. It simply can happen.
Jeez.
No, I am not kidding you. It simply can happen. Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, I guess that's it. If you said that there's nothing, I mean, I do have like something here about this guy named Mike Jeffries from Abercrombie and Finch. He's the one that created it's a clothing line, right? And
What?
A lot of perversion, a lot of things happening, but he's based over in Long Island.
Yeah, okay.
Montauk. So, I mean, this looks like a lot of the MyLab Montauk issues that, have happened. Is he from Montauk?
Yeah, why?
So he's not, he's obviously there, and the kid in the clothing line looks like surfer clothing, which, brings it back to what I've been saying before of seeing that a lot of surfers were involved in some of this experiment that they did. So he's with Monarch then as well, this Mike Jeffries. Is that right?
Yeah, correct.
And he has some friends. I think it's in another article. But I guess there were some other people that he was involved in. And look at this. He also owns some hotels in England, France, Italy, Morocco, and St. Barth.
I am not surprised.
Yeah. Bringing in all this type of activity, which is very much like Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
And look at his name is Jeffrey. So is it one and the same? Is it like connected to Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah, in some sort of way,
Yep. Well, okay. So I guess that is going to be
correct. That's correct.
These are the things that we need to keep an eye on and keep the public informed about. But I will say thank you, Peter, for joining us today. If there's any other things that you want to say.
I think that that's it for today's show. I want to say thank you, Jessica, for giving me another opportunity to be on your channel. Thank you very much, our regular and maybe not so regular viewers and listeners that you still with us till the very end of the show. I am really looking forward for next time. Till then, hold tight and bye-bye.
And thank you everyone for listening today. We'll try to keep you updated and stay positive. We've got a lot going on in the US regarding the elections and all that. Let's try to have highest intention for humanity regarding the outcome of what happens. I know there's a lot of tensions coming up and
yes, in Middle East and I don't know, in Ukraine, for example, in Africa, in Latin America.
Yeah, and they want to create a civil war in the United States. So
yeah, that's correct.
Let's all have an intention that doesn't happen and that things neutralize. So in all parts of the world as well. So highest intentions, everyone. Take care, be healthy, and thank you for your support. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't.
You have been watching Disclosures. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Visit www.acio-official.org and www.readingsbyarael.com to book a private session with Jessica. Feel free to support our work. All links can be found in the description. Thank you, and until next time.